Welcome, everyone. It is 2023. This week, we'll be talking about Sony came to CES 2023 with some surprises. Bungie's working on a number of unannounced projects for Sony. We'll see what that is. Nintendo meets their match in YouTube court. And this week, what we've been playing, we'll be talking about all the games we played over break. We got all this for you and so much more of the new year of Press X to Start podcast, season 7, episode 1. What's up, everyone? I'm your host, DJ, aka Sexy Bad Choices. I got to do it one more time, aka Speed Demon. Hopefully, I won't get a strike from Michael Jackson's. Yeah,
Because you
who else
sounded
is here?
just like him. I am Sean MF Ross.
What the MF stand for?
I am him, Himlinson.
Oh, Himlinson. Okay, all right. And then last up, we have.
Hi everyone, I'm Avery.
Oh,
You see how you just tapped the udder? I like that.
That's a cool little thing. Like that's part of his AKA. Like it's off and then it's on. It's like glowing red. It's like the heart of a dragon right there. All right. Now you know who we are. Press X Star Podcast is a weekly show where we talk about the latest gaming news, review the biggest games, and give you our thoughts on games we are playing. Our goal is to expand the video game media landscape through an underserved point of view. Am I yelling? I feel like I'm yelling. I can hear myself in my head. It's all the thoughts. On YouTube, you can get our gaming news breakout on Tuesdays, what we've been playing on Thursday, and the whole thing as a podcast on Fridays. If, and we know you are, watching on YouTube, you can support us by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and hit the notification bell. If you are listening, we would appreciate you leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts or podcast services you are using. If you want to join the conversations, you can by joining our Discord at pressx2start.com/Discord. Before we jump into what you've been waiting for, we have a couple of big announcements. First up, because it is 2023, we will be going through a little bit of a rebranding when it comes to all of our visuals. So this frame that you see, it's going to be different. The logo that you see, different as well. My voice, probably not different. I'm 36. This is where it's at. But everything else, it's going to be cool. And then starting January 15th, our podcast will be live on YouTube and all the other podcasts going forward. It's going to be crazy. So make sure you join the channel to get all the updates and to join our conversation. And then there's a little teaser for you, but Press X game streamings will be coming soon. So you'll be able to check out us as we play games and have conversations and tell great jokes. So make sure you're
You are
here for
really
all that.
selling this thing. Move on.
I try my best. Okay, I'm not a salesman. I draw stuff. All right. Yeah, that's it. I think that's all we have. That's all the announcements. So make sure you join the channel again. Make sure you are here January 15th on YouTube as we do this live. And chicken wings. We're not gonna have chicken wings, but I'm making chicken wings tonight, so that's kind of on my brain. All right. With that being said, let us jump into wait a minute. Gaming news. Avery, what's happening in the World Wide Web of gaming?
A lot happened during the, I guess, 2-week break. We were sorta off. A little mini vacation, if you could say. Not really much to vacation from because this, I don't know, dude.
This ain't work. This is a labor of love.
Yeah,
Right.
sure. What Sean said. But we, our back on my bullshit. Our first story is from Logan Plant. This is from IGN.com. It is Sony at CES, everything announced. So we sort of had a, DJ talked about it earlier, CES was happening and surprising everyone. Sony proper was having a presentation. And there was a lot of sort of question marks about how much PlayStation we would get at this. I just heard myself talk.
Oh.
Is your
and not saying something I just said. saying something I said probably weeks ago.
Yeah, it's your multiverse person. You know, the layers are folding in on itself.
It said something about a Rocksteady game.
I didn't hear anything.
It's okay. You're not going crazy yet.
Thanks for. We'll see. We'll see. I'll keep an eye on it.
Are you still hearing yourself?
I think it might be on his side.
Oh, okay. I have no. Okay. Heads up. I'm not gonna have any audio for the next. I don't have audio right now.
Why not?
I didn't hit the record button. I hit the play button. It played an old podcast that I was doing. That's why I heard myself talk.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start audio recording now, and whatever. We can just cut all of this bullshit out.
No worries.
I'm gonna restart everything.
All right, so I guess restart. Thankfully, we're only 5 minutes in.
You guys are fine.
Yeah, we're fine. We're fine. Don't stop your audio.
Stopping it.
Okay, so yeah, our first story is from IGN. It's from Logan Plant. Sony at CES 2023, everything announced. So CES happened over the weekend, and we're all wondering. Sony had a presentation, and we were all wondering what PlayStation stuff we would get at this event. There was a lot of speculation about what we could see. A lot of people had a lot of high hopes. I thought we weren't going to get much because, hey, Sony is a relatively big entertainment company. CES is very much a hardware-based company. Sony does a lot of other things. I'm not sure we're going to see much from them. Turns out we were going to see 75% PlayStation at this event. So a lot of things came out of this event. The first major thing they talked about was Jim Ryan coming out on stage and being like, hey, guys, Sony has hit $30 million sold. So 30 million units sold through.
Yep.
And he also said that the PlayStation drought, for the most part, should be over. And what he means by that is if you're still looking for a PS5, it should be much easier to find it now. And their ability to produce them has met demand.
My friend used.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
we all have PS5s, and all of our faithful listeners have PS5s, and people who are going to listen to us probably have PS5. So
I will say, I am happy that they finally reached this point because I think now we will be able to see the, I guess, quote unquote, true numbers of the PlayStation 5 in terms of its audience base, and now that so.
Well, I think it's very much is going to help the idea of, let's say, it's finally going to clear up the generations. If they've sold this much in the wild, then they don't necessarily need to rely on the PS4 to be its workhorse that it needs to be. So we're going to get more PS5 only games going forward, and the generation is going to be slowly phased out till we start all this bullshit again with the PS6.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
It's rough though, because I think Jason Schreier said that like AAA games that would take advantage of such horsepower, even if you started developing it today, we wouldn't see it until PS6.
Yes,
so
which is
rough.
like I said, AAA development was a mistake.
I will say that, like, yeah, but that's always the case when it comes to the next generations. Like, by the end of the generation, you see like really good games that's harnessing the power. Because like even like Last of Us.
To the point I think Jason's trying to make is that studios who make a game, unless they're big multi-team studios with a lot of resources, you're only going to see one game or no game this generation. Like the PS4 generation, Guerrilla came out with Killzone, and then 2-3 years later, we got Horizon.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And then at the beginning of this iteration, we got Horizon Forbidden West. Like, I think what he's trying to intimate is that, like, hey, the Plague Tale team, if they want to make a game at the level of Plague Tale, you're probably not going to see them make a game till PS6.
Yeah.
The God of War team, if you're looking for the next God of War, then you're probably not going to see that till the PS6.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Another thing they announced is they talked a lot about PSVR 2. They've reiterated how many games are going to come out for that console. And they also talked about how Gran Turismo 7 is getting full VR support, which is really cool. And they're also saying, hey, we're getting Beat Saber at launch. No news for Half-Life Alex. So, well, not launch. We're getting it close to launch. No news on Half-Life Alex, so I'm continuing to be underwhelmed by the PSVR too.
I just want to jump to the Beat Saber stuff. I think it is a slap in the face that Jim Ryan came out there and said, "Hey, we're developing a Beat Saber for PSVR 2." It's like,
Well, I mean, it's an
yeah,
update. They already have it on the regular PSVR.
yeah, but it should be a launch title. Like the fact that they're developing it, like that's so crazy to me that
Once again, we're not
Beat
programmers,
Saber.
DJ, so it's a
No,
whole
no,
different control scheme.
it, Beat Saber's on Oculus, right? It's on everything.
Yes,
So
and still, we do not have standardized VR controls per se.
no, okay.
So,
I mean, that's like a cool weekend right there. I'm not a
oh,
developer. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
okay.
This is
Hot
what I like
take.
to call a DJ hot mic moment right there.
Yeah, what the
Yeah.
freak are you talking about, guy?
Nah, I'm joking. I'm joking in terms of how long it takes to develop. I understand like the development can be a pain in two butts. But like I
South
think
Park.
it is I think it's very it's I don't know. I'm not getting PSVR 2. Like I'm waiting, like really waiting for it to have like games that
Yeah.
I care about. But it's just like, man, y'all don't even got PSVR. Or y'all don't
So
even got Beat Saber.
I've done a
Like,
little, yeah.
as a
Do you
launch.
play Beat Saber on your PSVR right now, DJ?
No.
For some motherfucker that don't got skin in the game, you sure is.
No, that was a surprising thing in terms of like, hey, we're developing Beat Saber. It's like,
You act like this is
yeah,
Gundam, and you just can't believe they don't have Gundam ready for PS5. Like,
nah, it's just that you can play Beat Saber everywhere. It's just like, come on, Jim, what are you doing?
was this gonna compel you to buy a PSVR 2 at launch, DJ?
Absolutely not. No.
I'm gonna come
No.
kick your
Okay,
door.
so something I was wondering with, because you were both bringing up interesting ports. DJ's in the mindset that this is all you need to do is make a port of this game of existing hardware to get it onto the more usable PSVR. Sean pointed
Wait,
out,
wait, 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 wait. I didn't say that there needs to be a port. I was saying that it was
It should be
crazy balls,
easier.
banana town to me that they are just
DJ, I'm trying
announcing
to
that they're
give you a
developing.
lifeline. I'm trying to give you a lifeline right now.
Just shut up and take it, DJ.
I'm
All
pretty,
right,
I'm
I'll take the
pretty sure
lifeline.
the Beat Saber studio is owned by Meta. And as Meta is a
Oh, so it's Zuckerberg's problem. It's Zuckerberg's
And
fault.
as Meta
Okay, all right.
as Meta is an organization with its own VR issues, I think the Beat Saber team is more focused on developing for Oculus and that stuff. And so PlayStation is a thing that is not a thing where the Beat Saber team is being. PlayStation had to reach out to the Beat Saber team to work on this. The Beat Saber team didn't look at the PSVR 2 and said, we need to get this on there. If that makes sense.
Okay. Hey, yo, Mark, email me at pressx to start podcast at gmail.com. I want to talk to you because this should have been done a long time ago because we know you like
I
money.
think it's a very, very small team.
It is a very small team.
I'm gonna
Mark,
email him, tell him DJ said to hurry the hell up.
put more people in the development team. What are you doing? Jeez.
It's a 21-person
Beat
team, according
game.
to this image that I have.
Oh, man. They must be under a lot of stress, too.
Yeah,
More
DJ.
power to them, you know. More power to them.
DJ, like, oh, they should be crunching to get this game out at launch.
At no point did I say crunch, okay?
I'm just
Those
extrapolating
are
what you were
Crunch
talking about.
Bar. I love them things.
Extrapolating what you're talking about. Anyway, our next
Yeah, Facebook did acquire them, like you said, but go ahead.
our next thing is that we got a sneak peek at I keep wanting to say GTA, the Gran Turismo film, which had a lot of Orlando Bloom, David Harbour, and its lead actor. I want to give his name absolute justice. So I'm just not gonna jump on that hill right now. It's lead actor just talking. It was talking about the game and showing off how it looks. Outside of the amount of time they mentioned the PlayStation and how much it felt like a giant ad, I think the film looks as good as the game, and if they can keep that realism and really ratchet up and keep up that sort of the adaptation
Yeah.
and make the actual races cool, it's going to be a solid movie that's probably going to be better than Uncharted.
You think?
Yeah, Uncharted's a fine movie, but it doesn't it's not pushing the envelope. Well, this Gran Turismo is a very simple thing that has a better director behind it.
Uncharted was a by the numbers movie.
Yes.
Do you think it's gonna do better in the
Box office, no.
box office?
No.
Okay. All right.
No.
Okay.
No. Unless PlayStation pushes really, because it's a racing movie. It's like no racing movie does particularly super well.
Yeah, unless they just hit on nostalgia of some
It's not even
sort.
nostalgia, unless they go
Crazy.
pure on we need to make this an Oscar bait film like fucking Rush. Rush is a fucking fantastic racing movie. But it's like if you want to watch that for racing and not for the action of racing, you're gonna be disappointed because it's a character study about two men on the racetrack.
Men.
But the biggest thing that came out in Sony CES was the reveal of Project Leonardo, which is their controller for disabilities, which is after a what's the adaptive controller being out for about a couple of years now, and how would I say this? Because I don't want to be and Xbox fans operating in bad faith, complaining that PlayStation doesn't have an alternative. Here is PlayStation's alternative, and they seem to have taken a lot of care and consideration into making this controller. The biggest thing about this is I want to keep this super clear. At least the spokespeople for disability community have pretty much said that this and the adaptive controller from Xbox are two separate controllers. It's like a DualShock to whatever the Xbox controller is called. I don't know.
I think it's just Xbox and whatever. But what do they mean by that? Like an advance in usability or something?
No, it's like they're serving two different functions.
Yeah.
Like
so
it's like
essentially
how
an
it's like how
accessible controller.
okay,
Yeah. So an accessible controller doesn't necessarily function the same way for everyone. Because accessibility is such a broad topic and it covers a lot of different needs. So this accessibility controller will target, different needs from the Xbox accessibility controller.
Granted,
it's
I
also
think they're gonna have plugins.
I think that's all for individual users. What I was trying to intimate was that there are certain people who dislike the Xbox controller, even though it's fundamentally super similar to the PlayStation controller, and ultimately they're pretty much on par in terms of actual ergonomic design. It's just people have different tastes, and that's what I was trying to say with comparison. Because there's not this isn't a conversation of what controller has better functionality. It's more of which one of these two controllers do you prefer?
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's really cool. Like that, good on PlayStation for finally.
What would be nice is if they allow you to use either of these controllers, interoperably with the other system.
Yeah, that was another thing of oh well, a lot of people were just calling for PlayStation to talk to Microsoft about making the Microsoft controller just work for PlayStation, so everyone can just use the accessibility controller. But of course, PlayStation did their own thing. I'm not sure if you're gonna mention this, Avery, but the other cool thing about this accessibility controller that's one for PlayStation is that you can also use your DualShock controller
Yeah.
in conjunction with this controller.
In regards to its plug and play technology, you can plug in pretty much a bunch of other probably third party accessibility accessibility peripheral into it. You can also use two of these controllers at the same time. So if you want to be froggy, you can have fucking wings. It's compared with design. You can have two of them dedicated in all their functionality spread on two hands. You can also use it in junction with a controller.
Yeah.
And I think what people are theorizing is that it sort of be like a more advanced version of how the Super Mario Galaxy assist mode worked, where you could fundamentally have someone playing the game with the accessibility controller, but someone on an actual controller alongside them, helping them with more difficult tasks.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. That was Bungie, and that was PlayStation CES, which pretty meaty. They also talked about a PlayStation 5, a Sony car called the Afila that has a PlayStation built in. And my joke is that the PlayStation a drought is over when they're fully prepared to just get rid of PlayStation 5s and build them into cars.
Yeah.
I put in my pre-order yesterday.
For the car or the PSVR too?
Yes.
I someone who likes working with Honda, and as someone who relatively likes the simplicity of Hondas, if this was a viable option in my financial bracket, I'd probably look into this car.
Hey man, it's not like it's coming out this year. You got time.
Like I said, not in my financial bracket.
Hey. 2023 is our year. We're gonna blow up. A feelers for everybody. Or just feels, whatever. I don't know.
Interesting thing about the PlayStation numbers is that I think, from my estimate, I really, really want Microsoft to be transparent about their own numbers going forward.
That ain't happening.
Oh yeah, no, it's not gonna happen.
Unless
Like-
they
They're gonna
force
be like, hey, Game Pass is killing, guys. Check it out, Game Pass.
Especially with their I guess FTC troubles. It'd be interesting to see how their console is selling, because by their metrics they're selling well and on par.
Yeah.
But the Series S and the Series X are two separate SKUs, so you never know how much. It's yeah. That's neither here or there. Microsoft is doing their own thing. Kudos to them. Our next story is from VGC. This is from Tom Ivan. Bungie is working on a number of unannounced projects with Sony. Now, I want to point out that they're very clear in this title. They said Sony and not PlayStation, which is, I want to clarify this multiple times. Bungie is not a PlayStation studio. They are a Sony entertainment studio. They report to Jim Ryan. If they report to anyone, they report to Jim Ryan, not to Herman Hulse.
Yep.
Does Herman Hulse know this though?
What?
I said,
What was
does
your
Herman know this though?
Oh.
I mean, who doesn't want to work with Herman Hulse? Look at this man.
So I think another thing about this is also it's unannounced projects and not games.
Yes.
So and from what we reported on months ago, Bungie is joining forces with PlayStation to help them on their games of service games. And this is also in conjunction with PlayStation saying they're going to put out 10 to 12 live service games in X number of years or something like that. So I definitely think the unannounced, like me looking at this, I'm speculating that the projects are the Horizon multiplayer game, Last of Us
That's what
faction.
you're speculating on. I'm
Yeah, that's what I'm
speculating because there is a little bit of extra news that came out and as attached. I didn't really attach to this. That that Bungie was expecting a game to come out before 2025. So when whether it's matter, it's whatever. What I assume is that they have plans for unannounced projects, be like their mobile game that they're working on. The alleged Project Matter, and probably something else that's probably going to be more PlayStation aligned in terms of what they're working with. Yeah,
because Matter is supposed to be the
extraction shooter.
return. Yeah, the Escape from Tarkov kind of. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I will be very excited to see Bungie's next IP, because I think Destiny. I love Destiny for what it's done for me in my life, but Lightfall, I might jump back into Lightfall. I don't know. We'll see. But the next thing, I'm definitely going to be in the front seat for when it comes to Bungie.
Yeah, super excited to see what Bungie is working on next. And then next story. This is actually from Kotaku. This is from Ethan Gotch. YouTuber beats Nintendo after it tried nuking evidence of a canceled Zelda game. So I want around 2004. I want to say the Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze team. I forgot what their name is.
Yeah.
But that team was working with Nintendo they pitched Nintendo on a Zelda Tactics game for the 3DS. And Zelda, and they had an entire presentation for it. Nintendo surprisingly said no to this. That team went on to probably make the Tropical Freeze games. And then a YouTuber did his journalistic research, found a lot of the pitch docs for that, and did a YouTube video breaking down what this game was going to be, and it got a copyright strike from Nintendo directly, and then
Yeah.
the YouTuber appealed to YouTube YouTube itself about being like, hey man, Nintendo, I don't know the exact legalese bullshit around it, but I'm guessing that because none of this stuff was brought to light,
through him.
yeah,
Like it was already accessible on the
yeah,
internet.
it was already
He
accessible
just
through other
compiled
stuff,
it.
and he compiled it and made the video. Then Nintendo can't claim a copyright on information that isn't like copyrighted by them, but like released by them in some
Yeah.
manner. So he was able to get it free, and now the video is free for everyone to watch.
And I think it has gotten a huge
100%.
numbers boost
Mm-hmm.
because of this.
Yep.
It's called Retro Studios. Retro Studios was the team that was going to make it. Yeah. So Nintendo got their first loss when it comes to them copyright striking on the internet. Hopefully that gets to every other thing they strike on the internet.
Unfortunate.
Definitely, man. Yeah, they're really sensitive about their properties, and most times they're a little too sensitive. And this is one of those times where the people actually fought back and they won. And more props to them.
I mean, Nintendo, what are you gonna do?
Okay,
Stop being a bully.
with doing a little bit more research, I think what happened was, because I don't know the finer details of YouTube algorithms, when you get a copyright strike, you have about 10 days to like appeal to it, and the other person has like a 10-day period to say why they're trying to like get this copyright strike done. Apparently, with this, it was Nintendo had to show him that he was going to be sued for this video, and they did absolutely nothing for about 2 weeks, so he was able to use that back.
They probably thought it was business as usual. Strike it, next one. Strike it, next one. They didn't probably
Yeah,
actually pay attention.
they didn't think to follow up on it and be like, yeah, whatever. This is just what we do. Yeah. So the guy actually paid attention and it worked out.
Not mad at him.
As someone who's a fan of
Anyway.
tactics games, I would have liked to have seen this Legend of Zelda Tactics game. I don't know why Nintendo would. It's like, no, it's just me being. This is just me letting my taste fly. Why I would prefer Retro to be making a Legend of Zelda Tactics game than the Donkey Kong game they ended up going to make.
I mean, I'd probably be on board with the Legend of Zelda Tactics game as well. Even
Like
though,
it-
yeah,
Like it doesn't matter that we're on board. What matters is what they ended up doing and whether that was the better decision.
we're gonna see. But
We don't-
yeah, before we jump into more Nintendo stuff, if you are watching us and you've been enjoying the video so far, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the button, and then hit the notification bell because we need that to keep us going, especially in this new year. So again, thank you for supporting us and thank you for doing those three things. Now, let us get back into Nintendo stuff. Avery.
Okay. Our next piece of story is not our next piece of story, but our next story is from VGC. This is from Jordan Midler. Analysts don't expect next gen Nintendo console in 2023. So the big hullabaloo that pretty much everyone who owns a Nintendo Switch, especially in the wake of the Steam Deck, not the Stream Deck, the Steam Deck, trying to correct myself here, is that we desperately need more Nintendo better Nintendo hardware. The Nintendo Switch was a piece of hardware that was released.
It was already outdated.
It was already outdated when it was released because it was the Wii U was meant to be on par with the PS3. Was lapped by the PS4. It's a whole thing. The hardware is out of date, and the games are to a certain extent suffering. A lot of Nintendo's devs are able to extract the best amount of power for that, but it doesn't really help their games from a performance wise or a fidelity wise to be trapped on that hardware. So everyone has been just generally assuming we were getting a new Switch sometime now. There were rumors that there was going to be a Nintendo Switch Pro at some point. Those rumors claimed that Nintendo quashed the idea for some weird reason. And now analysts are pretty much saying that we're not getting a new Switch hardware refresh this year.
So the rumor that I heard is that Nintendo squashed the Pro to work on essentially a Switch 2, like a bigger update.
The rumor I heard, now I'm just remembering, is that they didn't want another Wii U situation.
Right. Oh, okay. Well,
that makes sense. That makes sense.
That makes sense. So this is Huh?
Because the issue with the Wii U, and someone who is a Wii U enjoyer, is that it
Make
it
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 sound so
didn't
dirty.
do. It wasn't an evolution of the Wii. It was a completely different thing. All people are
Yeah.
asking for is to make the Switch, but make it stronger, so that
No,
I
Yeah.
can
yeah, no. It's definitely a thing of like, all right, Nintendo, just listen to what exactly we want. Where I think the Wii U situation was they marketed it very poorly.
Yeah.
So a lot of people didn't understand what the Wii
Unless you
U
would just
was.
had your ear to the gaming ground and actually
Yeah.
followed news daily. Yeah, a lot
Like
of people was like, "What the hell is that?"
yeah, like us, we understood like the difference between the Wii and the Wii U, but it was just a marketing nightmare from Nintendo. But again, it's a thing of all right, well, Nintendo, just don't do that. Just don't market your stuff so weirdly and just be like, hey,
literally
look,
all they have to do for Switch Pro is to market this game with Breath of the Wild 2 and like how much better Breath of the Wild 2 looks on this console, which looks exactly like a Wii. It's just more power in it. That's all they
yeah,
had to do. They've made a weaker Switch this generation, but they won't make a stronger Switch.
yeah.
And
And I am we're gonna talk about it in what we've been playing, but I beat Pokemon. So playing through that whole game and just knowing that on the horizon we have Breath of the Wild 2, Tears of the Kingdom, I'm like, I I will be very interested to hear how well that game performs on the current Switch.
Well, I mean, the first
Because
one performed pretty well. I don't see no problem.
the first one was a Wii U game, though.
yeah. And then on top of that, like the whole mechanics of things being in the sky, and at least from the rumors, like it's in the sky, but then you can also see the stuff on the ground, and you can I think go to the ground. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe it's just like a JPEG you see on the ground, so they don't have to render all that stuff. I don't know. I
It's
don't know.
just rough because I've been playing the Switch lately with I played Smash Brothers with Lean and Cuisine, and I had to go. I hadn't played online in so long. I had to go renew my Switch Online account. So,
The people
huzzah!
on your Switch Online account
Oh.
on your family plan,
Yeah.
trust me, dude, none of us would have known that it wasn't working.
I did. I do.
Oh
But I didn't say
god.
anything because I couldn't get any of my I couldn't do any of the mystery trades or anything on Pokemon. I was like,
Well,
I think
online is
the
active
shot is
now.
okay,
It's
cool.
active now.
I'm gonna go tell Shireen we can play online.
But it was just so painful loading it up and just seeing how sluggish the Switch is now. It still has some
Yeah.
phenomenal games, but
No, I think this was the year I was super surprised that I wasn't playing Switch games.
mhm.
In that, like, I was super excited for Bayonetta 3. I was super excited for Mario plus Rabbids. The most recent game. I was like, oh man, these are the games that are gonna bring me back to Switch, and they just didn't because I can't bring myself to pick up the Switch. Like I don't play the Switch in handheld mode. I hated
Yeah.
the fact that it's in handheld mode. So like it has no appeal to me as a handheld device. Which means it needs to appeal to me as a dock device. And if I play the dock and I'm not getting the same quality that I'm getting from A, my PC, and B, my PlayStation 5 is just not good. And then yeah,
That's a hard sell
I'll
to
talk
to
about that
compete.
when I talk about what I've been playing.
yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's just rough playing it after playing the PS5 for so long.
Like
Absolutely.
like
Yeah.
and what cracks me up about how bad the Switch is, Nintendo seems to just be like blind to the fact that how bad the Switch is when it comes to marketing things. Because nothing cracked me up most when they showed off Sifu, a game that's like low power on the PS5, and then you look at it on the Switch and it runs at like 10 frames a second. And I'm like,
Yeah.
how is this? And they showed it in trailers, and I'm like, oh man, look at how cool Sifu is. I'm like,
You showed this with your whole chest. Is that? Are you serious?
Hogwarts Legacy is supposed to come out on Switch.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
Oh my god. Yeah, yeah. I don't.
they're gonna reuse them old assets from Harry Potter games.
All I'm asking for is all I wanted from a Switch Pro was just a Switch that's permanently built into the dock, and the dock has more processing power. That's all I wanted. Like you can't take like if the Switch Mini is one that you can't dock, I just wanted the Switch Pro to be one that's always docked, just so I can enjoy that experience.
Yeah,
See, and
because
I,
how
I
many
think
games are actually making use of the Joy Cons and the motion controls and all that, other than Splatoon?
see, and here's the thing where like the way me and Avery play our switches is very different. Where I play my Switch exclusively in handheld mode. Like I don't I think the last time I docked my Switch to play was Smash Brothers Ultimate, I think that
Mm.
was the last time. Even maybe Animal Crossing I played once in docked mode and realized like, "Oh, this is I can't. I'm not doing this." But yeah, like if they make a Switch 2, I would hope that it's not completely docked
Well,
because that would
that's the difference between a Switch 2 and a Switch Pro. A Switch Pro just needs to be
Oh,
a
okay,
stronger
yeah,
Switch.
yeah.
A Switch 2
Yeah.
can
I
be
mean, all they
a
have
better
to do
Steam Deck.
is just make a Steam Deck, but just name it Switch. Nintendo
I
Switch
mean,
2. Nintendo Switch Deck.
Steam would just love to get Nintendo games on Steam Deck.
Like, just come on,
Leave.
Nintendo.
We'd like to get Nintendo games on Switch legally. And speaking of legal games,
Like-
our next story is from Kotaku, and this is from Isaiah Colbert. PS2 emulator development thesis following death threats. So this is a story of a PS2 developer behind a program called Aether FX2, which emulated PS2 games for Android. Who was making the emulator for free as a side hobby of his, found the internet to be an awful place of a bunch of people taking his content, trying to make money off of it. People who love to steal games, sending him death threats when the games they want to steal weren't readily available for them to steal, and he just said, "Fuck it, I'm done with this."
Or working properly on they were just making unrealistic demands for
A
a free
one-person
product.
guy making a legal piece of software.
Mm.
That's wild, man. That like
Do better, people.
and like I think that's the unfortunate um circumstance of just living on the internet is that you have to deal with people who have no sense of their own
Decorum.
situation to know that like, oh, this person who's producing this one is just one person. Two is created an emulator for your enjoyment. Like he didn't create it purposely for you. Like it was just a hobby thing. What's up, Avery?
Okay, Marcus, this is the part in the podcast where you take what DJ was talking about when we were talking about Beat Saber and insert that information right here. Okay, move on.
Marcus, let it be known. I don't take anything I said about B Saber back. Because this guy, as far as we know, or this person is not owned by Mark Zuckerberg. So that's a thing. That's number one. Two, this emulator is not Beat Saber. So that's two. Three, we're not talking about the PSVR 2. So I rest my case.
Oh man.
Anyway,
Shut up, Meg.
okay. Yeah, I think the existence of emulators is a fantastic piece of video game preservation in a world where a lot of companies aren't interested in preserving their games if they cannot monetize them. That being
Anymore,
said,
yeah.
I am not a fan of emulators in any way, shape, or form. So this being out, gone from the wild is like I'm fine with. That being said, if the PlayStation 5's backward compatibility was actually completely uniform with all content, then this would be a thing that needed to exist.
I I like emulators being out in the world. I really and truly back in like high school. So I'm gonna date myself. That's probably specifically like 2003, maybe 2003. I went on a
When I was in middle school.
I went on a bender of playing a bunch of like Super NES games because growing up I had a Sega. Like I didn't get a SNES, so it was just like playing like Front Mission. There was a Japanese Dragon Ball Z like card-based game that I just couldn't understand, but I tried my best. And then playing another like Mecha Warrior, whatever. I don't know. But yeah, like I really got a chance to experience those games that like I just
That
didn't
weren't on
have.
sale anymore and weren't
Yeah, I didn't
digitized
have the
otherwise.
opportunity of playing as like a younger kid. So I see the benefits there. Again, I think in this situation where this creator made an emulator and then people are sending him death threats is just completely insane and ridiculous and people are just dumb sometimes. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's terrible to see like a PS2 emulator just go along the wayside because people just bad.
Yeah.
Sean?
I mean, nah, it's an important piece of game preservation, like Avery said. it shouldn't go away just because sometimes game code will be lost. I think there's times where they just shut down servers and people still want to play the game, but it's not financially viable or makes any sense for them to keep on playing. But people can make their own little self servers and play with each other. I mean, it is what it is. There's
I mean,
a
it's PS2 games, and unless it was a SOCOM game, not many PS2 games had the necessity of online services. This is like
Tony Hawk, 3, 4, and Thug on Underground.
you can probably name about maybe 10 games of the PS2, like maybe 2,000 games that like were like.
Well, I mean, they can hack in multiplayer like they did with Melee.
That's fine.
Oh, yeah.
Like
I mean,
like I said, I'm ambivalent towards the existence of emulators. I just want video game preservation to be a real thing that exists, that is handled by the companies, and people shouldn't have to essentially pirate things just to make sure that people can play them in the future.
yeah.
Yeah. If it was handled better, we wouldn't have to
Yeah.
worry about stuff like this. Yeah. All right.
Anywho,
Well, that has been the gaming news. Press X Star Podcast is a podcast that you can listen to on all podcast channels. I don't know how to end this thing. I completely forgot that it's been a really long time. I will say we hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoy making it. I found it. Don't forget to rate and reviews on your favorite podcasting apps. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Yeah, do those things. We appreciate it. You have a good time. You take care. Be safe. Wash your hands, of course, because illness is still out here. Just getting all up in between them fingernails and just doing all that bad stuff.
excellent.
Bye.
Yeah. An hour and 1 minute. Or less than that, actually. It's under an hour.
Yes.
Would you like to see? And the last thing was a dig at you.